Okay, well, good morning, everyone, and just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. My name is David Grofick, and I'm the Enterprise Sales Manager here at CPAC. And, at CPAC, our goal is to really just try to be an extension of your IT department, helping you perform your due diligence and, creating, an IT infrastructure that's just easy to manage and cost effective. We have over 250 manufacturers, and these partnerships that we have are very, very powerful. And one of them, which is one of our best partnerships is with HPE. So I'm going to introduce the HPE team. Mike Azzarello is going to be presenting on HPE GreenLake and how this compares to AWS and Azure, and just talking about cloud infrastructure. As folks are really, making their way to the cloud, a lot of folks are really finding, some very useful ways and cost-effective ways to manage their infrastructure through the cloud. So with that, HPE has really done a tremendous job in this new offering, and it's quite unique. And so I don't want to steal any of Michael's thunder here. So I'm going to hand this over to Mike. And this is an informal presentation. So if you'd like to speak up, please hit *6 and unmute yourself if you have any questions or would like to get additional information on what we're presenting at that time. So again, thank you so much for joining. And Mike, please take it away.
Okay, thank you very much, David. I appreciate that. As David said, Mike Azzarello, GreenLake Channel Specialist. I am part of the team that helps support our partners like CPAC as they go and seek out new opportunities with our GreenLake hybrid cloud service. I'm going to give you a brief presentation on what GreenLake really is and what it's about and the value proposition. And then Dominic Santo is going to step in and provide a brief demo of our GreenLake Central product, which I will be talking about as well. So, and I'm diving right in, but as David said, feel free to interrupt, but as well, we will have a Q&A session at the end. Right now, as we hear about the next wave of digital transformation this year, certainly change that in many ways. In fact, we've witnessed as a company an acceleration of a lot of changes to how companies are treating their applications and their data, as well as figuring out how to use systems anywhere from data center all the way to the edge. And as that comes up, the cloud is certainly a big element of that because it opens up opportunities to operate under a different model. During this process of digital transformation, again, digital transformation can be thought of as ways to drive more productivity out of your employees, ways to go tackle new markets, how to respond better, quicker to opportunities, and dramatically increase engagement with your customers. And of course, there's other technologies like 5G that are going to make this even more prevalent. So I think there is, kind of a across the board interest in how do we realign IT infrastructure. One of the things, according to IDC, that has occurred is that I'll say the easy apps have already moved to the public cloud. These lend themselves to the public cloud environments, virtualized and so forth, which leaves a lot, as in 70% of applications still stuck in the traditional model of a data center, possibly in a colo, but not benefiting from the cloud experience. A lot of reasons for this. In many times, it's the architecture that's been built up over many years and sometimes decades, leads to these, tightly integrated applications which are now have become entangled. You have data issues. Sometimes the data can't leave the data center. Sometimes it has to be close to other applications and systems. And quite honestly, sometimes it's just strictly security and compliance. Some things have to be run on site. The other thing that we're seeing repeatedly is that in order to move existing applications to the cloud, there has to be a lot of rework. So you end up in a skills deficit because all the other work still needs to be done. And on top of that, you're asking staff to re-architect a database so that it would fit onto a public cloud. And this all leads to, less than clear return on investment. What GreenLake provides is a true cloud experience that, as I mentioned, it goes from edge actually all the way to public cloud. So it gives you the self-service model where you can literally get on, uh, provision a resource, make it available. It's in a pay-per-use model. You have the ability to scale up and scale down. And in addition to that, the key components of this architecture are managed for you, freeing up resources. So, and if you notice, GreenLake does in fact, it goes across all these elements, whether it's edge computing, your own data center, or your colo, as well as integrating with public clouds. Kind of the current state of GreenLake as you get into it, and this is important, is we are now moving much more towards workload-based definitions. So while we all know there are computer systems and storage arrays and networking and different software stacks underlying all of these, for a lot of companies, they are moving towards a workload-based concept. A little bit of a level of abstraction, but if you start thinking about moving towards the cloud model, one of the things you get to do is go and deploy a database or go and deploy a load balancer. You actually don't have to deploy a small server and then an OS and then a database software and have it configured. You can literally say, I would like a small database, and it is provisioned for you. And GreenLake does that. And so what you're seeing, what we've moved, a lot of what we do with GreenLake is to make sure that anything you can kind of do in this public cloud, you can do in the HPE GreenLake on-prem hybrid cloud model. So what really happens? What's the cycle of GreenLake? Well, you start at the left and we come up and work with you. Our partners like CPAC come in and we identify some workloads, we size them. We actually have tools to help you determine what your sizing requirements are, whether it's compute requirements or memory. You can give us data. This is how many VMs we're running. This is how much storage we have, what our backups look like. And from there, again, using this idea of workloads, we're able to order systems or a solution. And it arrives in as little as 14 days, and it goes into either your data center, your colo, and we actually have a third-party colo option. So if you say, I don't want anything in my data center and I don't have a colo, we actually have a colo partner, and that can all be factored into the GreenLake agreement. It gets installed and implemented by HPE engineers, fully ready for turnover to the customer, and then you're up and running, which is the go. Now you're into the true cloud experience. You log into your GreenLake Central. I'm not going to take away Dominic's thunder. He's going to show a lot of it, but it is truly a self-serve, full-featured portal. Quite literally, you get on and say, I need a VM, I need a database server, I want to deploy some storage, all done through GreenLake Central, all managed through it. Capacity planning is done through there. You have a full accounting, so you can even go into the level of chargebacks. So a very robust end-to-end solution. And because the architecture is what you need for your current application environment, we've addressed almost all of the issues that the public cloud is facing, right? Public cloud has a very rigid, in a sense, rigid way that you can move into it. And if you don't fit, you can't move in there. In contrast, GreenLake comes in with a solution that actually fits your architecture and addresses the data gravity, the application entanglement, all those other issues that are preventing you from moving your applications to the cloud and your environment. So what I'm showing here, and again, I'm gonna go lightly on this so that Dominic can talk to it, is that all elements of your customers can be addressed, from the C-suite down to the actual developers and your DevOps or IT ops group. honestly giving a dramatically better level of control. And because we integrate, you can actually plug in your public cloud credentials for AWS and Azure. You can have a single view of how you are using services, whether it's in the public cloud or your on-prem GreenLake environment, and see what the utilizations are, see where there's areas for optimization. Should you move things from GreenLake out to AWS or from AWS back into GreenLake? Quite a bit of value in this model. The GreenLake Central Dashboard is a simple, easy to use tool. It has been built up from HPE's own investment in it, as well as some very strategic acquisitions of companies that provide us a true full metering system, so we can meter down to a lot of granularity across the different types of workloads. So it's not it's actually giving you that level of metering that allows you to determine how much compute power I might be using, down to the user, down to the application. And because it also includes capacity planning, you're never stuck in a situation of being short on resources. You have a very good view of what your growth patterns are and what your resources are to get there. So this is where GreenLake, again, hybrid cloud solution, it's on-prem, it fits your architecture, but it delivers on the benefits of the cloud. So when you've got your GreenLake environment set up, dramatically shorter time to deploy your digital projects, your resources, again, VMs, database servers, whatever that resource might be. It's now truly that couple of clicks, entering a little bit of data, click on the mouse, and then in a few minutes you have another resource deployed. We're able to, because the environment is actually provisioned with headroom, we call it variable space, as well as a very high support level from HPE, we're able to reduce unplanned downtime dramatically. On top of that, you avoid the over-provisioning tax. You don't need to buy excess resources in storage or in compute right up front to accommodate a 3 or 5 year growth plan. You buy what you need, perhaps for the first 12 months. You're able to track your usage. If you hit the growth that you expect, then you process a simple change order with CPAC, and more resources come in at the end of the first year. If you happen to have overstated your growth, then you don't need to do the change order. You didn't spend the extra money, and you're able to stay within the original budget. So there's a upfront savings with the GreenLake model. And again, on control and insight, significant control, especially around compliance and security. It's a big boost to the IT teams to make sure, are the applications patched correctly? Do we have any holes? There's, I believe, about 1,500 software level checks that go through the compliance tool to make sure things are done correctly. And finally, as I move towards the end of my deck, it's a truly predictable cost model. And what that means is you start by coming up with we call it the reserved space. It's strictly the, if I use hypothetical numbers, if you need 100 compute units, you think you need 100 compute units during your first year of service. We install 100 compute units and you actually commit or reserve 80 of those units, and the other 20 are installed, but you're not paying for them. So the other 20 compute units are your variable capacity. What would happen is you start up, day one, you start running the applications, you're probably not at 80, you're probably well below it, but then you start growing into it. As long as you're at or below 80, you're only paying the reserve charge. If you go above 80, you only pay the variable charge. You would pay that variable charge. All of this is known up front in advance, and you can't, there's no wild cards, so you can't go up to 101 units unless you've done a change order. So you have a very good predictable cost model. And again, we're giving you lots of tools, so there's no, oops, we ran out of storage. And specifically, when you look at a lot of the public clouds, AWS in particular, that's who's featured in this register article, the data egress charges are a big wild card. And this article, which David has the link, we can send it to you if you want to read the article. NASA went and loaded a lot of data onto AWS, and they didn't actually calculate the data egress charges at all, or if they did, it was incredibly conservative. The result is they had a 50% overrun, and this is in the tens of millions of dollars per year contracts. So that's the kind of stuff that GreenLake avoids altogether, which you don't have to worry about. And we kind of harp on this because this is actually the public cloud Achilles heel. They get you in, they get you onto a small server, which becomes a big server, which becomes a half a dozen servers. But then as the activity starts to spool up, all these other little charges that you had agreed to on that sign up screen start to activate. And you know, the stories about the 400-page Amazon AWS invoice that shows up with a really big number because you went into production and you didn't realize people were actually going to be running lots of reports and lots of downloads. Those are true stories, and those are things you get to avoid with HPE GreenLake. So GreenLake's it's actually been around for about 10 years. It was our flex capacity solution. And over the last 5 years, there's been immense investment by HPE, again, through acquisition of key software companies to round out our tool set to manage it. The goal by HPE is to become everything as a service. So everything will be available, everything we make will be available on GreenLake. And we are moving in that direction. And when you compare us to the other hybrid cloud or on-prem cloud solutions, we're the only ones that are giving you the true pay-per-use. It's not a lease. A lot of our competitors will tell you, oh, it's a pay-per-use, but if you actually look at the agreements, it's a lease. You're going to pay for everything they've installed. When I talked about the variable space, those 20 compute units that we install, but you're not actually paying for because you're only paying for the 80 reserved and not the 20. If you never use those 20, you never pay for them. At the end of the contract, we just take the equipment out. So it is a true pay-per-use model. We're already at over $4 billion total contract value. That's what TCV stands for, and 1,000 customers. GreenLake is our fastest growing product line inside of HPE, and it's because it is bringing a key solution to our customers, which is how can I get this cloud experience and the economic benefits and the control benefits and the speed of deployment benefits, but my applications can't move to the cloud, to the public cloud. And that's where GreenLake fits in. And we're seeing an incredible adoption by our customers. And at this point, I am going to hand this over to Dominic, who will pick it up and do a GreenLake Central demo for you.
Thank you very much. I am just loading up the GreenLake Central demo environment. My name is Dominic Santo, by the way. I am one of the channel champions for GreenLake for HPE. And I will just load up and kind of give you an overview of how GreenLake Central works. So some of the things I want to start off with is this is going to be a platform that all of our as a service products will grow out of and make it very easy for you to see what the current offerings are, you know, what other as a service things you can expand into with the help of HPE and CPAC as our partner. So as this particular page loads up, in the meantime, one of the things I also wanted to mention is along with the vein of the NASA and the ingress and egress charges that sneak up on you, of which, you know, you're going to have full visibility in your GreenLake Central as to what those charges are at any particular time. And we have a bunch of tools to help show you that and allow you to track it throughout the month. But we also have other as a service products like Cloud Volumes block, where you can take that same storage conundrum NASA had and you can put it into an adjacent data center that you can use with Azure Compute and AWS Compute and not have the same ingress and egress fees that you get hit with some of the other things. So you can always talk to CPAC. We have a lot of solutions to help you out with. So let me get back into the particular demo here for us. The page that you see right here is going to be the main GreenLake Central dashboard that you'll log into. What we tried to do is put all of the most important info right under your fingertips so that a lot of times what you need is right here and you'll never have to click out past it. So in the upper left-hand corner here, your first tile is going to be your monthly charges. It'll show you how much you've been paying in the last couple months. And if you want to drill down further, in the lower right-hand corner is a details button. So if you click on the details button, what you'll get is the actual billing statements. So if we want to click back, say, to September and look at a full month, what you'll see in your billing statements is the specific location where the charges occurred. We also have the compute and the storage broken out. And we've done that because our metering technology we picked up through acquisition of Cloud Cruiser. They had one of the top metering technologies, so it acquired our investment. Well, the way we measure compute and storage are different, and since our goal is for you to only pay for what you use, that's why we bill all that stuff separately and don't lump them in together. So you'll get the detailed billing statements. It'll show your total requested, how much is on site, how much of it is reserved, and how much you've actually used over the course of the month. And you may see, I'm not sure how fine this is on your screen, but it does show, it's a hyperlink. So if you click this open, you're actually going to be privy to all the metering data that we've collected on your GreenLake environment over that course of the month. So if you do have a jump in the bill, or maybe you're interested into what particular workloads or virtual machines are causing what, you'll see an average daily consumption of compute units throughout the entire month here. And then you can take this data, if you like, export it to CSV and look at it any way you so choose. Or if you simply need to take these statements and send them out to your boss or whatnot, they're all exportable by PDF as well. So if we make our way back to the main dashboard, the next tile we're going to see is capacity planning summary. As Mike pointed out, one of the key tenets of GreenLake is just using the IT that you have and not over purchasing and having all that extra floor space, because not only do you have to purchase that extra equipment up front, you also have to pay to air condition it, 3 years worth of IT that you may only be using half of right now. So with GreenLake, you'll order what you expect to use for the next 3, 6 months, maybe a year if there's a lot of variability to it. And then due to the metering and utilization tracking, we'll see what are your actual, how much hardware you're using. And when you're getting close to your maximum of that type of hardware, it's going to set off an alert for CPAC and for HPE. And then you'll also see this right here in your own dashboard, knowing that it may be time to ring up your CPAC representative and get a little bit more hardware on the floor. Now, this is bubbling up your greater scale, but you can jump into the details as well. Maybe you had a really busy month last month. Maybe you're in the retail sector and November and December are just crazy. So this wouldn't necessarily be your best forecast. You can change the forecast basis to more normalize those, or you can forecast out further if you're interested in how your workloads are performing. Now, this particular top setup here, your DL380 Generation 9, is showing critical. They're not in trouble. All we're trying to say is there's 3 servers installed on site, and you're currently using all 3. So while you may not be using all the horsepower of all 3, this is the opportunity for us to say, Mr. Customer, looks like you're growing out of your current hardware installation. This would be a great time to process a change order, get some more variable usage hardware on site that you can then just pay for as you grow into it. So that covers the capacity planning section. Now I have another real quick little widget to go over. That's the all track cost widget. So there's a lot of information and data behind this entire dashboard, and we'll get to see some more of it in just a moment, but maybe you don't always have time to click in. We're really going for a full cloud-like experience where you have as much of the things that you're looking for at your fingertips and with the least amount of clicks as possible, right in front of you as soon as you log into the GreenLake Central platform. So the All-Track Cost widget allows you to configure it based on some groups and categories of the data we're collecting. One of them being provider. This tends to be one of the more popular ones of the customers that I've spoke to. And it just breaks out based off all of the billing material we got back. So you can tell that HPE has onboarded one of their Azure and AWS environments that we pay dearly for, as you can see. But it shows it right here on the front page, so you won't have to click into more information if you don't want. However, if you're interested into a deep dive of your analytics of your consumption, in the upper right-hand corner of these top 3 icons, you do have the ability to load up the full consumption analytics portal. This is also technology we got from Cloud Cruiser, best of its class, and it basically aggregates all the utilization and billing information of your connected GreenLake and public cloud accounts, and it allows you to see that in a easily human digestible type of format. Not sure if you guys have ever been witness to a 40-page Amazon bill, but it very closely resembles reading a phone book, in my opinion. There's a lot of numbers, a lot of pages, and it's just tough for your average human, me included in that, to be able to derive much insights and comparisons just based on the sheer amount of information that you get. So what happens is you integrate that into the consumption analytics portal, which is a very powerful analytics database, and it takes all of this and it allows you to see the information in an easily unified way. Now, if you're a CFO or a CIO, CFO, a line of business manager, you know, you all have different views and different type of information that you may want to see. Well, GreenLake Central has an identity management in it where you can set up other people's logons so they can see a certain subset of information or be presented a dashboard that maybe is just the targeted information that matters to them and their KPIs. Maybe you have multiple roles in your company. You can also set up multiple dashboards that change the data being presented, or it's a very powerful tool where you can actually, this is just the CAN report that you're seeing now, but you can change up the graphs, the information that's presented. This is all dynamic. So if you're just interested in your GreenLake spend and you click on GreenLake, all of these dynamic charts are going to swap to just that information with pop-ups. And then you can get the full details of all this information in the tables supporting it below. Now, one of my most favorite features of the Consumption Analytics portal, which by the way, you do receive free anytime you sign a GreenLake as a service contract with CPAC and HPE. The insight sections right here are a very powerful tool that you get. Now, what this is going to do is it's going to take your public cloud provider information, is my biggest demo here for this, and it's going to process it, and it's going to say, hey, it's going to run through it and go through some easy checks. Here, this first one shows there's 155 instances of underutilized elastic block storage volumes in AWS. And it shows you the volumes, how much you've written to or read in the last 7 days, because this is all things that have written or read less than a megabyte per day for the last 7 days. It gives you the daily cost of these. Now, I have a cool little story that goes along with this. When I first started giving this demo about 3 months ago, slightly different landscape in the demo environment itself. And keep in mind, these are real public cloud accounts that we've attached to it. Well, when I first did this, you can see that a lot of these daily costs are in the $3.30 section. Well, there was a lot more of them when I started. There was probably at one time 90 of them, and this scrolled all the way down through them. Well, I ended up giving a demo to this to the management team here at HPE, and I made this comparison. I said, you have 90 volumes here, costing you $3.30 a day. That's roughly $100 a month, and since there's roughly 90 of them, that's $90,000 you're donating to Amazon that you're not actually using. I thought that was a very good opportunity to point out the power of this tool. no thought really that this was a real set of Amazon and Azure. I thought it was all in a demo account. Well, you know, the next week comes by, I have another customer to present the demo to, and I pull up this screen, and just like it is now, there's only a handful of those $3, those high cost volumes per day. And we've even taken this type of information to better spend our demo pool resources and not just give things away. Now, not only is it going to provide you with cost savings, the insights will also provide, say, unusual changes. And this will show when things in the public cloud may have increased in costs, region costs have changed, tier costs have changed. All of this same type of information I'm familiar with from my cable company. I sign and I pay my cable company a certain amount of money, put it on auto bill, don't even think about it, come back, you know, just checking something in my bank account, notice, hey, you know, Spectrum's taken another $30 a month. Well, this tool here built into GreenLake will police all of your public cloud accounts and will show you and bring this type of stuff and bubble it up and save you the time of drilling down and reading Amazon or Azure bills in your spare time. So this is a very big value proposition you get along with GreenLake. Now we have some other tools that our customers have requested. We have a budgeting tool. So you can assign a budget in the cloud to a department or a development team, and then as they're spinning things up in the cloud, which is a very, very easy thing to do. It's so easy. Sometimes, as NASA found out, you don't realize all the fees and stuff that come along with some of that. So like this particular dev team is really developing up a storm. They have really surpassed their budget, but when we found out about it middle of the month, we can go talk to the development team and have them maybe not spin up some more instances throughout the remainder of the month, maybe turn down any unused elements at that particular time, but it gives you the opportunity to provide a stopgap or to try to plug the hole in the dike and not quite spill as much money onto the ground. Now, those are all helpful. Something else I'd like to show is there's a reporting function. So as I mentioned earlier, you can customize these reports based on any of this information. You can see it in a numbers view. You can create pages that have pie charts, bar graphs, line graphs, whichever is the best way to convey your information. The Consumption Analytics portal can provide that, which allows you to create additional tabs. Maybe you want to keep an eye on the cost efficiency. We created this tab just for the demonstration to kind of show the different type of things that you have the ability to do. This is a very customizable portal. Now, one step past that, you guys are probably familiar working in IT that the syntax of hardware and resources, like for instance, these right here, are really tricky to actually derive information from. Now, with our smart tag system, what we allow you to do is upload hardware names and resource names, and then also a human-friendly, more verbose name, like maybe sales or marketing or accounting, something like that, so that when you do go into this home page and it shows, you know, who's using what, you know, these particular names are going to say something useful. Accounting, you know, has cost $17,000 this month, and give you a show back ability to be able to take the knowledge derived in of all of these sources and actually make intelligent decisions out of it, which is what a lot of customers have come to us and say that's one of the toughest part of the cloud. The cloud's so easy to get into. At times, it's very difficult to find your way once you're in there and the bills start coming in. So that's all available to anyone with GreenLake. Another thing you're going to have access to is a pricing request tab. In here, you can get quotes and also check on, you know, any other requests you might have for additional as-a-service products from HPE and CPAC. We are walking lockstep here, so everything that you submit to us is only going to us too, to help you expand your environment and reduce the amount of aspirin you may consume in any given month managing your own hardware, if that's becoming an issue in these times. Now, Mike had also mentioned the continuous compliance. So what this is, a premium tool. So this one would require an additional cost. If you have, maybe you're in a vertical like financial or healthcare or even retail, there's frameworks, security frameworks that are put down on companies on that, so to protect the data of the individuals using those particular services. I've been doing pre-sales for almost 20 years now, and my prior knowledge of HIPAA was simply that it would allow you to, not let your data get out, or other people to know, what your medical history is. And I knew that defective media retention was a good services add-on to add to those, because that way people couldn't take broken hard drives and get your information. What I didn't realize is, on top of that simplistic view that I had at the time, there's frameworks and a lot of rules that are required from healthcare and financial institutions to protect that data. Well, continuous compliance, and I'll open up the main view for it, is basically a tool that takes the frameworks like ISO, or even something as simple as HPE best practices, NIST 800 certifications, HIPAA, GDPR, if you have do business in Europe. Well, and we take that information, we connect to those public clouds running on these particular workloads, and we run those frameworks against them. And then let's take a look inside the NIST 800 framework here, and then we kind of rate how you're doing. The green is good, red means it needs some attention, and in any of these particular rules, you'll see the red ones are bad. It'll give you the description of, the rule itself, a remediation on how to fix that. And I specifically picked this one, if you guys hopefully can see this on your screens. It's a red document with an X in it. So not all rules are settings inside of a computer somewhere. There's a lot of procedures that also must be documented, so that when Bill does a procedure for ABC Corp and Sally does the same procedure, they both get the same type of results. That kind of protects the customer, protects the company as well. However, with this type of documentation, the procedures need to be documented. Now, are they kept in a file cabinet somewhere? Are they under somebody's desk in shoe boxes getting ready for the audit? Maybe they're stored on a NAS server as Word documents. This particular rule set, and this is just one of many, has almost 500 rules. So if you could imagine having 300 documents and trying to make sense of that, it's not possible, but it's more difficult than, we need in a day like today. So what we have in continuous compliance is the ability to have a repository for these type of procedural documents, assign a responsible owner. If this particular framework says that, your rules have to be looked at once a year to make sure you're following the best practices of the time, you can set that and then just upload those files into one spot. So when that audit does come up, right off the bat, all of your ducks are in a row, and you'll be taken care of, and you don't have shock of, maybe your secretary telling you on a Friday afternoon that you have a HIPAA audit, Monday afternoon, that's your next appointment. Have a great weekend. It's tough to have a great weekend. That's a lot of things to make sure everything is going smoothly. So this is also another piece that we picked up, and it's a very good also value protection for your public clouds, especially if you're someone who's had to deal with this stuff in the past, then you'll see the value in it. Now, last but not least, I want to touch quickly on GreenLake for private cloud. So as Mike was talking about earlier today, GreenLake is as a service. Use the hardware you need. Now, you can do all kinds of different situations to do more of a cookie cutter server you need on site. Maybe you need a particular really complicated rack of certain hardware. We can help you with that as well. However, if maybe all you're looking for is that cloud-like experience, I have a credit card and a workload, help me get them working, but it's a workload that has a data gravity type of issue. Latencies are very important on this, or maybe on-premise security is actually the very important thing that stops you from just booting it up into the cloud. think of GreenLake Private Cloud, the cloud experience where you just handle the workload and the credit card on site. So what this is a Synergy, a rack full of Synergy and Nimble. It is running ESXi and NSX, and it's a cloud management portal that has everything you need to upload your images, create blueprints if you want, and then just run those instances. And you can assign different user roles so that maybe Bob can start things up and maybe Bill can just look and see how things are running. So, and to show you how quick and cloud-like it is, let me show you how fast it is to start up an instance. Now keep in mind, what we're shooting for instance-wise here, HPE, is not just a virtual machine. So if you offer web sites, full websites to your customers, you might have an Apache web server, a MongoDB to keep part number and customer information in, and maybe one of those nifty little shopping cart apps that sends you emails, you know, or customers emails if they forgot to buy everything in their shopping cart. So your solution you're providing is actually 3 virtual machines or 3. Now, what we want to do is be able to create an environment with automation and blueprints to be able to load that entire instance, all 3 virtual machines, so they all talk to each other and see each other and run in their own little space and make it easy in one set of clicks. But I'm going to do this particular one slightly easier. All you have to do is click on the Add button, select the type of machine, and these are all configurable. When you have access to your GreenLake Private Cloud, you can set these up. And then you'll create a name for it. You can add labels to make it easy to find in the future. Maybe you want to group it by a project name. And then at that point, it's just a couple clicks where you can select an image. You can select the network. They gave me access to be able to change the size of the VM. So I'm going to do that. I'm a power user. Now in the automation section, this is a pretty cool section. This allows you to set backup plans. You can also set these standard where other people don't have the option of whether to use it or not, which is good. But workflows, this is the part where once you create a blueprint and a workflow in the virtual machine as a service database, it allows people to just click it up and launch an entire workflow of multiple applications. And we can even call like an Ansible or a Terraform to actually not only load images, but also provide provisioning assistance for the applications as well. All of that automation is available inside GreenLake Private Cloud. And then we're right here to the review. I think I may have clicked about 7 times and maybe typed 30 characters because I was being wordy. So that's how quick and easy it is to set up virtual machine instances on GreenLake Private Cloud. So that is my basic demo here. I can turn it back over to Mike and Dave. I think we're open for any questions if anyone has any questions.
That was great, Dominic. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's definitely an informal presentation, so we would like to get any questions that you have answered. And Dominic, could you just kind of just talk about cloud volumes and some of the benefits of that? I know we've covered a lot of things in this presentation today. You know, we are offering a one-on-one online meeting that if you would like to participate, you'll get a $50 Grubhub gift card. But I just thought that, you know, there's a lot of powerful features in the cloud volumes. Could you just touch on that a little bit?
Sure. So what I'll do is I'll sum up cloud volumes real simple. So what it is, it's a nimble array, and you can purchase just regular type of hybrid flash or the performance level of all flash type of arrays. And what they are is they're housed in the Equinox data centers that are like adjacent physically to AWS and Azure data centers. And this is HP equipment in there that you can connect, you can replicate to if you want. You can just store data in there if you desire, or you can even use that Azure data storage for your public cloud compute, like Azure and AWS. So what that allows you to do is collect, maybe do artificial intelligence. Maybe there are these workloads that run fine in the cloud. You just don't want to be hit with the ingress and egress fees. Cloud Volumes Block allows you to do that because we won't charge you those fees. They're just a connector in between those compute data centers, and then they have access to it. And there's even scripts to help you automatically connect your public cloud virtual machines into your Nimble on-site in the Equinox data center. So this is just like a real quick overview of it, but it's very powerful. Anything that Nimble does, we can help provide you those same type of services. And hopefully you guys have Nimbles on site. They're very quick, fast, and easy to use. It's almost like it's a cloud-like experience of storage on your own premise if you have GreenLake or a regular CapEx version of that.
Great, Dominic. That's great. And also just wanted to point out that on the GreenLake, the infrastructure is really based on HPE's Synergy platform, which is a composable server infrastructure that gives you a tremendous amount of flexibility and powerful tools. And also there is a feature of InfoSite to make it just very, very secure. So, you know, a lot of folks have some security concerns moving to public cloud. And with the Synergy platform, and they have the root of trust, where the complete silicone root of trust is you cannot be compromised with the Synergy platform. So a lot of folks are able to move their applications, you know, their mission critical, you know, what they're using every day into a cloud environment, and not have, you know, the over provisioning of having an on-prem situation. So you're getting all the benefits of on-prem, but in a composable cloud-like hybrid cloud cost model and infrastructure.
And to add to that, I'd also say that HPE GreenLake gives you the option of where in the stack you want to consume. Just as he was mentioning about composability, being able to build things up. Now, if you have a very skilled IT team, you're proud of them, they do a lot of great things for you, and you want to keep them keeping the lights on, that's your choice. We can provide that Synergy composable infrastructure as a hardware as a service, where you can create all types of other hybrid cloud platforms that talk to each other and provide all that intelligence to run it. We'll be happy to support you in that. If you want that cloud-like experience where you don't pay any mind to it, maybe you take your IT staff and you have them create more value, maybe create that new next digital disrupting app, and you have them doing that rather than making sure all the firmware is set and up to date. We could do that for you as well through GreenLake Private Cloud. So there's many options. By all means, contact your CPAP or HPE, and we'll be happy to walk you through all of these different options available to you, just what you need.
Great, thank you so much, Dominic. If anyone has any questions, you know, please bring them up. We'd love to, you know, try to answer them for you. As I mentioned, you know, we will be following up with you to see if you'd like to do an online meeting to talk about your infrastructure and try to drill down for you. We also have some very good diagnostic tools that are non-invasive that we can run in your environment to just kind of give us a little bit of a landscape of, you know, how much compute and storage and the different aspects of your infrastructure you're currently using. So we can give you a little bit of a, you know, what it would be like, you know, what a composable model might be for your organization. Okay, well, I really do appreciate you participating today. I'd like to thank our presenters, Michael and Dominic. And, you know, we really look forward to working with you and, you know, just trying to understand your goals and what your organizations do to, you know, utilize both the public cloud and this new hybrid cloud model that could give you the security and the features and the cost points that you're looking for. So we do appreciate your attendance today, and we will be following